iOS 17 has been out for a few weeks now, and I've already made a video where I detailed the 10 features that I think most people will be getting the most value from. I'll link to that in the description of this video if you haven't already watched it. But as I'm getting more time to play around with the new operating system, I'm finding more and more little quality of life features that may not be all that exciting, but will have a major impact on how you use your phone. In this video, I'll be listing 10 that I think you should check out. Okay, let's get into it. There are two additions in iOS 17 that make creating wallpapers really easy and effective. To show you the first, I'm going to start on the lock screen and tap and hold for a second. I'm going to swipe one across to a new wallpaper and tap the blue plus button. This is the menu that allows us to choose new wallpapers, and for this example, I'm going to tap on Photos at the top of the screen. I'm going to choose All and scroll down until I see a photo that I would like to use as my wallpaper. I really like the colours in this particular photo. It was taken on a night out when my wife and I were on holiday, so I'm going to tap to select that particular photo. But the problem with this photo is that this is a landscape orientation photo, and I'm trying to use it as a vertical wallpaper. Because of that, my phone has automatically zoomed in on the photo, but that means that the focus of this particular wallpaper has become this guy with his back to me, which really isn't what I was after. I'd much rather have the scene as a whole. But if I zoom too far out, we're going to have this really ugly crop mark at the top of the photo where the photo cuts off. Not so with iOS 17. I'll use two fingers to zoom out of the photo and position it as I like, and notice that the top of the photo, rather than giving us an ugly crop, the iPhone has blended the photo into a black top. This actually works really well because the date and time and widgets all sit at the top of the screen, and the contrast of the grey against the black background work really well here. This won't work with every photo, but it does work with the majority of them, and your phone does a really good job of making pretty much any photo work as a wallpaper. Another great feature in iOS 17 is a much quicker and easier way of cropping photos within the Photos app. So for example, I have a photo in landscape orientation and I might decide that I want to crop it. I'll zoom in and get the photo the way that I would like it, and when I do that, you notice this crop button appear in the upper right of the screen. If I tap on that, my phone will automatically crop the photo to the dimensions of my iPhone screen. I could then tap Done and the photo is cropped. You can see that this is a really quick and easy way of cropping images to make them perfect for your wallpaper. But you do have additional crop options here, which I can show you if I go to a different photo. Again, I'll zoom in and you'll see the crop button appear in the upper right of the screen. But this time, instead of tapping on the crop button, I'm going to tap and hold. You can see that the default is full screen, but I could also choose original dimensions, widescreen, or square. I'm going to choose square for this example, and I can then move the photo around within the square crop to get it looking exactly how I like it. Once I'm happy with it, I'll tap Done, and again, the image is perfectly cropped. This is one of those tips that somebody told me, and I definitely didn't believe that it was something you could actually do until I tried it for myself. You can search your photo library for sounds within videos. Open the Photos app and tap on the search button in the lower right of the screen. In the search box, type in the sound that you'd like to search for. I'm assuming that this will differ based on everyone's different photo libraries, but for mine, I was able to get this to work with the following sounds: laughing, clapping, and cheering. For all of these examples, you can see that my iPhone has located videos that contain those sounds. Here's where this gets really clever. If I play a video from the selection and then go to the scrub option down at the bottom of the video, you can see a blue line. This blue line indicates exactly where in the video that the sound is playing. If there are multiple instances of the sound, there will be multiple blue lines here. It's a pretty amazing feature, and I'd be really interested to know if you manage to get this to work with other sounds, so drop me a comment and let me know how you get on with this one. Searching for music artists using Spotlight Search in iOS 17 now brings back staggeringly detailed results. For example, you can see that with this particular artist, I can see information about the artist himself, and if I scroll down, I can see his discography, his songs, his albums. If I tap into one, it will open up in Apple Music, and obviously, if you're an Apple Music subscriber, you would then be able to start listening right away. Further down the search page, you can do things like view videos, find out facts about them, and get access to all of their social media links. And then if I search for a somewhat more popular artist, you can see that the page looks roughly the same, but you can also see news articles about this particular artist, and further down you can get access to their concerts. Tapping into one of these options takes you into a dedicated concert mini app, which you only seem to be able to access via Spotlight search. You can see that you can filter by region up at the top, and then when you choose a specific location and date, you have the option to purchase tickets via one of the linked apps. By the way, if you prefer to have content like this in a written format, there's a PDF version of this video, complete with screenshots, and you can access it along with all other PDFs I've created, plus future ones for just $5 a month. You can either scan the QR code that you can see on screen, or follow the link in the description of this video to learn more. In iOS 17, your phone uses artificial intelligence to transcribe audio messages that you send and receive in iMessage. It does this pretty much immediately and with pretty remarkable accuracy from what I've seen so far. So if you ever find yourself out and about and someone sends you an audio message and you know that you're not going to be able to listen to it, you don't need to. You can simply look at the message on screen and read what the person has said to you. This next improvement is a feature that iPhone owners have been asking for a really long time now. Let's say that you're creating a reminder in the Reminders app. Let's say that for this example, the reminder is to buy somebody a birthday card in time for their birthday. In the date of the reminder, you might decide to put the actual birthday of the person that you're sending the card to. But the problem with this is that if you get reminded of the reminder on that day, you'll be too late, as you need some time to actually buy and send the card. Now in iOS 17, Reminders gives you a new feature called Early Reminder. Simply tap into this option and you can see that you can choose from custom presets like 1 day before, 2 days before, a week or a month before, or you can set your own custom option down at the bottom. So now, even though the date of this particular reminder is set for the 19th of October, we're going to get reminded to complete the reminder on the 12th of October, 1 week before. When you're using iMessage, if you tap the plus button in the lower left corner of the screen, you now have this new menu that appears that gives you quick access to the different apps that you use within Messages. The first page is essentially the main Apple functions, things like access to the camera, access to your photo library, access to stickers, that kind of thing. But if you tap on more, you'll then be shown additional apps, including third-party apps that you might have installed. This can build up over time, especially because some apps include iMessage apps by default, even if you don't choose to include them. Dropbox is a prime example of this. I installed the Dropbox app on my phone and the iMessage app was added automatically. So something you can do is go into Settings, then scroll down and tap into Messages. On this next screen, tap into iMessage apps. And here you can see all of the apps that you've installed on your iPhone, which also include an iMessage app, and you can manually choose to include or disable them as you wish. To show you this, I'll disable Dropbox and then go back into iMessage, tap on the plus in the lower left corner, tap on more, and you can see that Dropbox has been excluded from this list. But another nice feature of this menu that you might not know exists is the ability to reorder the apps in terms of how you'd like them to appear. So, for example, I might decide that I would like Photos to be at the top of this menu and Camera to be second in this menu. And so to do that, I'll just tap and hold on Camera for a second and then move it down below Photos. And then I might do the same for Audio. I'll tap and hold for a second and drag that up the list to second place. You can see that when I do that, Camera automatically moves down to third. This also works across pages. So if I go to the second page of apps and tap and hold on Music, then start dragging it up the screen, if I go all the way up, I can drag this onto the first page of apps. If you're ever in a situation where you'd like to have your phone read the contents of an article out loud to you, you can now do that quickly and easily with iOS 17. In order for this to work, you need to open an article up in Safari and tap the AA button in the address bar. If you don't have the AA option, it means that the article that you're trying to read isn't compatible with Reader, and this does happen from time to time. In the menu that appears, choose Listen to Page. Your phone will begin speaking the contents of the article to you, which is of course great, although there are a couple of things to note.
How much can artists make from generative AI? Vendors won't say. 6:30 p.m. GMT +1, the 30th of September, 2023. As tech companies begin to monetize generative AI, the creators on whose work it is trained are asking for their fair share.
First up, the voice that your phone will use here is the Siri voice that you're using as standard on your phone, and this can make a big difference in the quality of the voice that's being used to read the article. So if you'd like to change this, head to Settings, then Siri and Search, then tap into Siri voice and choose the voice that you want from in here. Back on the Safari page, you can see that the icon in the lower left is now a speech bubble with a speaker icon inside of it. If I tap there and then choose resume listening, the article will continue being read out to me. But then if I tap again while the article is being read, you can see that we now have an option called listening controls. We can choose to end listening, rewind back a bit or forward a bit, play or pause, or change the speaking rate. More controls will take us back to the menu option that we were previously looking at here. By the way, if you're enjoying the content here, why not consider signing up to my free newsletter, The Proper Weekly, which you can do via the link in the description of this video or by scanning the QR code on screen now. The newsletter goes out each Friday and I include some tech news from the week, a behind the scenes of what's happening here on the channel, as well as a tip for an item in the Apple ecosystem. Your iPhone's voice assistant can now handle back-to-back requests. So for example, I might activate it and say, "What's the weather like in Manchester?" How about tomorrow? How about in Newcastle? Notice that not only did I not have to activate the voice assistant in between the different requests, but it noticed and remembered the context each time. So when I asked about Newcastle, it knew that I was referring not only to the weather, but the weather tomorrow. It might be a minor improvement, but it's changes like this that are making the iPhone's voice assistant that little bit more usable. Previously, if you wanted to create a shortcut that involved opening the camera app, it would open in whatever mode you had the camera app in previously. That obviously isn't always ideal, especially if you wanted to quickly capture a portrait photo or a slow motion video, for example. In iOS 17, you now have the ability to create camera shortcuts that open the camera in exactly the mode that you want at the touch of a button or by speaking a phrase to your voice assistant. To show you this, I'm going to go into the Shortcuts app and begin the process of creating a new shortcut. I'll tap the Add Action button and then scroll down, and you can see a section dedicated to the camera. For this example, I'm going to tap on Portrait. In other words, when the shortcut runs, it will open the camera in the portrait mode. But you can see that once selected, if I tap on where it says Portrait up here at the top of the screen, you can choose from all of the different camera modes available. I'll choose Done, and you can see the shortcut that we just created. Because we didn't give it a name, the shortcut is currently called Open Camera. So I'll tap and hold on it for just a moment and then choose Rename. Once I've edited the name, I'm also going to tap and hold on the shortcut tile for just a moment and then choose Share. When the Share sheet opens up, I'm going to choose Add to Home Screen. I'll choose Add, and we now have a tile on the home screen called Portrait. Tapping this button will open the camera immediately in portrait mode, just as we wanted it to. I could of course also use my voice assistant to do this by assigning a phrase to it. Live Photos is one of those features on the iPhone that a lot of owners think is a bit of a gimmick, but Apple are pushing ahead with even more features for Live Photos in iOS 17. For example, if you tap on the thumbnail of the photo down at the bottom of your screen when in the Photos app, you can scrub through the live photo like a video, just like you can a regular video. Also, if you tap the Live button in the top left of the photo, you'll see that there's a new option here. As well as the usual options to change a live photo into a loop video, bounce photo, or a long exposure photo, you now have the ability to turn the live function off entirely. This is really handy if you've accidentally taken a live photo when you actually meant to take a regular photo. And finally, if you tap on the ellipsis menu in the upper right of the screen, you can see that there's an option here called Save as Video. This does exactly what it sounds like and will save the live photo as a video in your photo library. So there you go, 10 lesser known features within iOS 17 that I think a lot of people will get a lot of value from. I've got another video almost ready to go with 10 more, so do keep an eye out for that. What about you? Any new features that you're using that we've not talked about here? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.